Hello everyone, so welcome once again to the channel. Today we have Alaja Adebinkwe and Austin, who are two DAAD PhD scholarship holders, and we brought them on here to share their experiences with us related to applying for the DAAD scholarship and the processes that were required and the experience in Germany so far. So I'd like us to quickly talk a little about the necessary documents you need to apply for this scholarship. So once you have the approval from a professor and says, okay, I like you, I like us to work together, for the DAAD scholarship itself, what are the most important documents a person needs to gather?
To apply for the scholarship, the first thing you need is your proposal on grant. You must have a suitable proposal that actually addresses the area you actually want to work on. Then after that, you need all your certificates, your secondary, university certificates, master's certificate, and also your transcripts. You send them all together to DAAD, and also you fill their form. You let me say, after the proposal is already on grant, the next thing is to fill their form. So after filling their form, then you add all the documents I mentioned. You add it to along with the form. You send it directly electronically into their portal, and also send it by post to the embassy in Nigeria. So I think that's the main thing that you really need to apply for. Once you have your proposal and then you're able to fill the form and you have all your documents with you, then you are good to go.
So just a question. So Austin, if you go on the website of the DAAD, all the documents you require, are they fully listed there, or is there something that one has to call them on the phone for?
I think everything is listed. Yeah, everything is listed, and every call for a scholarship has its own requirements. And although during the time we applied, we had to send the document through the German embassy. And the German embassy sent our documents to the head office here in Germany. Yeah. And however, last year it was a bit different. Yeah. Of course, after the electronic application, so they didn't send their documents this time. Yeah, everything was just done online. And so the only thing that was to be sent to their office was just the recommendation letter from the reference. And so what Alaja said, everything is completely true. And in addition, just after the research proposal, another very important document is the support letter from the supervisor. So it's just a letter confirming.
You mean the supervisor in Germany?
Yeah, he would provide you that letter. So he would send it to you as a soft copy. And so it's one of the documents you have to upload. So the documents it's just a letter that confirms supervision from the professor, and if everything goes fine, he or she is willing to supervise your PhD program. Yeah. So everything is on the website, I guess. Yeah.
So apart from the documents that you have to take on the website, you also need a letter of support. So the supervisor in Germany is going to write a letter and say, okay, I hereby declare that I'm going to supervise so and so student for this scholarship. Okay, so yeah, that's very interesting. Something that makes some people surprised, when they want to come to Germany, they say, oh, I can't speak German. Do I need German here, this and that? And then the DAAD, they offer an opportunity to learn German. So can you briefly tell us how long you spent in learning this German class, learning the language? How was the experience for you? Did you think you learned something in that whole period? So just speak briefly about your experience in the German language course. Where did you do it? And all these kind of things.
We did our language course in Cologne, here in Germany. The first few days was not actually interesting. It's like you coming from, how would I call it? Coming from, it's actually strange to everybody, because where you are from, you are speaking English, you are used to speaking English and every other thing, and you all of a sudden you find yourself in an area the idea of what I had at the back of mind was, okay, learning the language required, we starting from ABC, what are the necessary, but the very first day in the class, they were like, speak German. From where will I start from? So, but along the line, we coped. We tried to get along with the whole process, and it was actually when it was actually starting getting interesting. That was when we left at the end of it. But the beginning was not that easy. Yeah.
And how many months did you spend?
We spent 4 months.
4 months learning.
Yes, learning German.
In this 4-month period, how many of the levels were you able to cover from A1 onto what level?
We were able to cover up to, for my own class, we covered up to B1 I have forgotten B1.1. No, we have A B like that. So it was B1.1 B that we actually finished.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but I'm not sure the aspects where Augustine finished.
I think she's yeah.
So how many levels did you cover?
I covered to B1.1. Yeah, so I think everything she said applies to me also, and yeah, that's how the experience goes.
And did you have to take an exam like test DAF or anything like that?
Yeah, during the language course, yeah, definitely for every level, you have to write test and exam for them to be sure you are qualified to go to the next level. And yeah, so we took series of, in fact, every week we do write qualifying test.
But that's not the test DAF. The
Test DAF?
Yes, test DAF is like a certification that you are actually, certified that you can speak this language to this level.
Yeah, exactly.
But the one we did in class was just like a continuous assessment to know whether we are actually catching up with what we are being taught. But test DAV is, you can, if you're actually, I when I was reading the DAAD requirement, you still have to do it at some point. But if your university doesn't require it at the beginning of the program, you can do it at the later end. But you see, something one still need to do is just like a certification. At least you learn this language to some point. You can speak this language to some extent. So, yeah.
So during the language course, every week you do some tests. But then there's also test DAF, which is different from this test. This is a certification which you can present to university. And if your PhD is in English language, you don't have to submit it immediately. But at some point, the DAAD might require you to submit it as part of the scholarship. Okay, so there guys, there you have it there. Once you take a DAAD scholarship, you have a chance to learn German language free of charge and do the examinations free of charge as well. So there's when the person gets the admission, you get the PhD scholarship from the DAAD. You get this email that congratulations, we have given you this. They send you some documents, including the letter of award and all this kind of stuff. The next thing I guess is to book a visa, because you have to plan your trip here. So I know that when a person has scholarship, the requirements for the visa processing may be a bit different. Can you share your individual experiences with the visa processing in Nigeria? So if you are not in Lagos, did you have to come down to Lagos? If you are in the East, is there somewhere you had to go? And how did this work? Do you have to pay any money also? Because if you're a scholarship holder, maybe you don't have to pay. And this kind of stuff. Can you share your experience? Also with the blocked account, you don't need the blocked account now, you have a scholarship letter. How did this go for you?
When we received the email that we've been selected for as one of the, we've been selected for the scholarship program. The next thing for us is to get a visa. But the requirements for visa in Nigeria is you have to book an appointment with the embassy for you to at least, get an invite for interview. So, but being that when we were sent the email, it was a short duration for us. So, and if you go to the website of the German embassy to book an appointment, it might take a longer period. So, the contact person in charge of us actually contacted us. I think one person talked to the woman in charge. So she now mailed all of us to send in our document, our passport copy, the data page. So she now sent it to the embassy to book an appointment for us. So after booking an appointment for us, the embassy sent an email to us when we need to come for the interview. So when we got there for the interview, normally they used to pay money for visa application and every other thing, but for the DAAD scholars, it is actually exempted. You don't need to pay the money. And also, when going for those kind of interview, you have to go with all your documents, all those things that you actually need to in applying your documents, your passports, and some other things. To mostly they have the list of requirements on their website on what you need to bring along when you want to come for that kind of interview. So we went for the interview and we were granted, and after some time they call us back to. Actually, I was sent a mail to know when I will be traveling so that they can pay, paste the visa on our passport. But I think for the other students it's actually different. I don't know the process, how they go about it. But that was actually the way we went. We went through our own when we applied for visa at the embassy.
I have a question again for you, Alaja. So, do you live in Lagos State normally when you apply?
No, I was actually staying in Ibadan, so I had to travel down to Lagos for the interview, and I was even given a 7 o'clock interview, so I had to stay overnight in Lagos before I went for the interview.
Okay. So, Austin, maybe you can quickly also share your experience. I know it's not going to be much different, but if there's any other thing in addition to what Alaja has said, it would be nice to hear you. And also, where were you staying? Were you in Lagos? Were you in Ogun State? Where were you?
I reside in Lagos, so yeah. So I think everything. So you just apply, so you are called for an interview, and so yeah. I think for scholarship holders, it's not much of a problem. Yeah. So I think there's this preference, special treatment, especially the time duration your visa would be ready. And I think on average, 2 weeks. Yeah. A friend got also in 1 week. I got mine in 2 weeks.
Actually,
So
mine in the 3rd week.
Okay, yeah. So you can see on the average, let's just say 2 weeks, and exactly, and so.
That reminds me once again. You mentioned that you don't have to pay an application fee for the visa. When you get to Germany, you have to convert that visa to residence permit. Some people pay €15, €20 for this. Did you have to pay any money also here when you got here to convert your visa to residence permit?
No, we didn't pay any money for.
No, it's a German scholarship, so I guess it's tax free and every other thing. Provided everything goes to the German government, you're exempted. Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. If you have a DAAD scholarship, you don't have to pay the visa application fees. I think it's about €65, which everybody pays. You are exempted because the government funds this. And when you get here also, and you have to get a residence permit, as a student residence permit, you also don't have to pay any fees. And it seems the process can be accelerated for DAAD scholars. So when they know you are holding a DAAD scholarship, they give you some kind of preference because they want you to come on time and take advantage of the scholarship.